Yeah, Dan cleaned up well.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the reorganizational meeting of the Dover Select Board to order at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. And the first order of business is a couple things: to welcome newly re-elected Select Board members, Patrick Levant and Dan Baliotti.
Yes.
Patrick has taken the oath of office and signed. Dan, unfortunately, you have not taken the oath of office. So
I'm ready to take I can take the oath. Can I take it on Zoom?
no, unfortunately, I can't do it via Zoom.
Okay.
So you would not be able to be a acting board member this evening.
Okay.
Okay, you can be a resident, I suppose, but in any case, so you would not be able to vote on anything. So the first order of business after that is to appoint a select board chair. Is there anyone who'd like to
I
make a
nominate
motion?
Becky Capitani.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay,
Vicky, we'll turn it over to you.
thank you. Next order of business is to select the vice chair.
I nominate Sarah Shippey.
Second.
Anybody else?
I didn't the wrong information. I took so offensive and I said,
Oh, it is. I can see that up there. 100%.
We've got lots of feedback from someone.
Yeah. Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next is select board meeting rules and procedures. Any changes? Anybody want?
Nope.
Okay. So we'll adopt the standing select board meeting rules and procedures. Can somebody make a motion to that?
I make a motion that we readopt the meeting rules and procedures for the select board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The select board duties and guidelines. Any changes or comments about that?
Nope.
Okay. Can somebody make a motion?
I make a motion that we re-accept the select board duties and guidelines.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right. Thank you. Any comments? All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Meeting schedule, the first and third Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Any changes anybody would like to make with that schedule? Any comments?
Nope.
Okay.
That leaves us open the option of going to one meeting a week in the summer if we have.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Do we need a motion for that, or is it just?
I don't think so. I think we just agree to meet those days.
We affirm it.
Yeah.
And we affirm it, yes.
Okay.
Everybody's agreeable.
Good.
All right. Selection of the official newspaper.
I can't.
I think I would like to make the Deerfield Valley News the official newspaper of the town of Dover. So I'll make that motion.
Associated with it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's great.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. I work there.
Okay, gotcha.
I always used to stay.
Yeah, I took your spot.
Yeah, that would have been a problem tonight if both of you had to abstain.
Okay, town attorneys, Cady and Dugan and Stitzel, Page and Fletcher.
That company.
Which is
SPF
attorneys.
Yeah, you say they don't go by that name.
Yes.
I
And
make a motion that we appoint Cady and Dugan and SPF attorneys as the town attorneys.
somebody want a second?
Joe, you want to second this one?
Second.
Way to go, Joe, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Okay.
now we're moving down to town officer appointments. The current appointments, we'll start with the assessor, who is
Should I- Oh, okay.
Linda Sherman. Do we want to do these as a group, or do we need
I
some
would like to
changes?
do them as a group.
Well, there's
with-
some that-
except for one.
As a group, except for
Two,
a new
Two.
representative.
yeah, M and N
Will
will
be
do
separate.
individual.
Okay, so I make a motion to appoint the following. Linda Sherman, Assessor, Select Board Civil Defense Officers. Becky Arbella, Council on Aging Representative, Joe Mahon, Energy Coordinator, Richard Werner, Exposure Control Officer, Lori O'Hearn, Green Up Day Coordinator, Megan Odette and Richard Sedlak, Animal Control Officers, Travis Briggs, Road Commissioner, Linda Holland, Town Service Officer, Linda Holland, Town Agent, Andy McLean, Tree Warden, Westover Fire Chief Richard Werner, TJ Sibilia, DV Fiber Representative, Shannon Wheeler, and Diane McCormick, DV Fiber alternates.
Somebody want to make a second?
I'll second, but I have questions.
Okay, so Patrick is seconded. What's your questions?
I have two questions. What does it mean when we say select board of civil defense officer? And secondly, can Becky Arbella be the council on aging representative?
Because she doesn't live in town.
She's not a resident of the town, I don't think.
Yeah, she still is.
She's still got a place here. She's back.
She's not a full-time representative.
So-
Is she?
Well,
unless
I was told by the town attorney that, except for the select board. But the question came up in particular with the development review board, that there wasn't a prohibition against somebody from out of town or a part-time resident being on the DRB.
Travis does not live in Dover.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Extra time.
And
So, listen, I.
What? Who is talking?
Where are we getting that
did
from?
somebody?
Dan, are you having a conversation with somebody?
Can you mute?
There we go.
Yeah, Dan's muted now.
Okay,
Could I just mentioned, I mean, Becky still works for SASH.
right.
So
Yeah.
she's very active in that respect, so.
Right.
I think,
I'm okay with it. I just wanted to be sure there was no issue with doing it. I don't
Okay.
have an objection. And what about the
So-
civil defense officer question?
civil defense officer.
That's all of us.
Does that mean
Yeah.
we're all civil defense officers?
Yes.
Yes.
Do I get one of those CD hats from way back in the day? That's what I want to know. Armband.
Okay, all in favor of the motion and the second?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now we're gonna go down to M, which is the Wyndham Solid Waste Representative. Dan is a current representative, and Kevin Stein and Kevin Stein has moved to Virginia. So, anybody want to be on the Wyndham Solid Waste representative list here?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Joe. I know you love trash, so I'm
I don't
It's
love
good.
trash.
second for that.
I second Joe's. Oh, I nominate Joe
Mhm.
and Patrick can second him.
Second.
Great.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then we can leave
Well-
Dan's position open until after Dan is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what it, that's
Yeah.
my
So
question.
right now we just have one representative, but at the next select board meeting, we'll appoint Dan.
Yes.
Or reappoint Dan, assuming
Yes.
Dan wants to. He's looking at Dan.
Look on his
Once
face.
you're on the select board again, do you want to be the Wyndham Solid Waste representative?
You can shake your head. Okay, okay,
There we go.
that'll be the next meeting.
Okay.
That was
All
awesome.
right,
Yes.
so the Wyndham, under N, Wyndham Regional Commissioners, we have Sarah Shippey and Alan Block, that we were all copied on, wrote a request to be considered. Does anybody have any issues with that nominating Alan?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you, Patrick.
Mhm.
Second.
is there,
Oh, I didn't see him.
Did we get a second?
I seconded it.
Joe did.
Okay. Any discussion?
No, I think he'd be great.
Thank you, Val, for stepping up. We appreciate it.
Yep.
My pleasure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's all of that. So now we're gonna appoint department and committee, board and commission liaisons.
Oh, about it.
Joe is the administration liaison. Patrick is the assessor liaison. I am the Bytown committee liaison. Dan is the DRB liaison. Economic development is me. Sarah does fire department. Dan does highway. Joe does library. Sarah does planning commission. Sarah does police department. Patrick does the school board liaison, and Joe is the zoning office. Anybody want to change things up?
I don't, I'm good.
I'm,
Hearing nothing? Sarah,
I'm
you
fine
wanna-
with it unless anybody wants to change, just for the sake of changing.
I'm good.
I'm gonna,
Hold on.
all right, without
Whoa.
counts.
We have to take Dan's.
Yeah.
Dan's is off.
Okay, so I make a motion that we appoint the following liaisons. Joe Mahon, administration, Patrick Lagrange, assessor, Vicky Capitani, Bytown committee, economic development, Vicky Capitani, fire department, Sarah Shippey, Joe Mahon, library, Sarah Shippey, planning commission, Sarah Shippey, police department, Patrick Lagrange, school board liaison, and Joe Mahon, zoning office.
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And we'll
Unanimous.
just take care of Dan next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm good with this.
okay, so I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Dover Select Board to order at 6:42 PM on Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. Public comments. Anybody? Okay. New business, discussion of proposed Senate Bill S-255 with Cliff Duncan.
Enjoying the setup there, or just be here?
You can be there,
Pull closer to the mic.
We're good,
or
okay.
you can sit here if you want.
Well, thank you for scheduling this and nice to see everybody. This all came about of interest to me in November of this fall. Where there was a move afoot by Mark Anderson, Wyndham County Sheriff, to change the format by which he funded his department. And the funding historically has always been by contract. So not unlike even a private police force, he would go to towns individually, ask them what they wanted from his department, and he would develop a budget for them and tell them, here's what you want per hour, traffic control, just general policing, speeding, traffic control, that kind of stuff.
Just can I stop you 1 second?
Sure.
Can everybody hear Cliff?
Yeah.
If you could speak up just a little bit, Cliff.
Okay,
Or
yeah.
come closer, either way.
Sure, so the model has been tried and true, been historically the way they've always done it. I'm not quite sure. Mark is a good guy, I like Mark, I've had a number of conversations with him about this department. I never really knew him much before this whole thing, but I think his heart's in the right place. But he's come to the determination that he doesn't want to do the contract piece of this anymore. He doesn't want to go around and solicit for his department and would rather have a funding mechanism. And the article that was in the paper in the fall talked about that, and people commented up north saying, well, this would be the most efficient way to do it. And it began with a property taxation that was going to be levied on property valuation. So much like what we do right now for municipal funding and school funding, the county would be looking for funding for this purpose as well. In the last couple of weeks, that's changed. There's been some modifications to the bill. It's actually been voted out of the Senate and passed. It is now before, I guess, a companion bill in the House. There was a communication that I copied Laura on today. And so she is aware of it. She said in the email reply that she was in favor of it. I think the biggest thing for me, and the reason I'm even here is I'm a taxpayer in Dover. I'm a taxpayer in Wilmington, neighborhood. But to me, it just has this really familiar ring to it, and that is that the legislative intent, oftentimes it seems, in my experience, over time becomes a little bit lost. And how things are intended when they pass and what they're dedicated to do when they're passed morphs into something quite unlike what happened. Probably one of the most stark examples would be Act 60. In the beginning, we all were told 11 towns were going to somehow fund the shortcomings financially of all the other towns in Vermont that couldn't afford to pay for their schools. That didn't work out too well. It's no longer just 11 towns alone. It's a mess. I think that the Windham County Sheriff's Department proposal, it breaks precedent in a major way. And in fact, if I read in the article that was in the first discussion about it, Jeanette White, former county senator for Windham County, endorsed the initiative, and she said amending state law to enable a pilot program, which is what this is called, is a relatively small task. As White described it, the pilot program requires an amendment to carve out permission for Windham County to raise taxes for law enforcement. And Vermont State Police is the default agency authorized to deliver policing to towns without municipal departments or another service like Windham County Sheriff's Department. So when I saw that, I thought just a little tweaking of the legislation kind of concerned me, if that's all it takes. They currently, as a county governance does not have any ability to directly tax people. And like in Wilmington, I think it's line 242 of our annual report, we pay like $100,000 to the court of Windham County, and in Dover, I'm sure contributes too. And that's to pay for the judges, to pay for the courthouse, pay for part of the Windham County Sheriff's Department building maintenance and kind of more or less infrastructure sort of things. And then they raise money other than that too through contract work that they do, whether it be road guard work for utility work and stuff like that. But this deviation from that long-standing tradition is the biggest alarm to me. What's changed in that tempers it a little bit is that they're now saying it's not going to be assessed as part of the grand list. And they're going to assess by the person, per person. So if Halifax wants to have their services, they must join this council, which has been established, and they must vote on it as a town to join, because they don't have their own municipal police force for that coverage. It in part being driven by the fact that the Vermont State Police has chosen to move their barracks in West Pratt to Westminster, paid $500,000 for a piece of property up there, which was crazy money, and now they're not in this area. And in the beginning, when state police was first here, people like Pete Barton, Chuck Goodnow, Truman Way, these are all original state police officers. They lived and had families right here in the community. Well, that's not the case anymore. State police rarely live in the towns, so they need coverage here. So the Windham County Sheriff's Department feels that's a lack. They would like to cover better. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. I think it's probably a good idea. It's just that when you set a precedent like this to where you're going to change the mechanism by which you're funded, to no longer make it by contract, where the local boards have really all the autonomy, all the control rather, to go to the Windham Regional Sheriff and say, I want your services. Here's what we want. How much are you going to charge? They have direct negotiation and direct control. That's not the way this sugars out. The Sheriff's Department under 255 will be all under the direction, control, financially assessed and everything by this council, made up of at least one member from each member town. And that is how they see the structure. But again, it's the government from afar trying to institute something that's needed locally. And there is a disconnect that we see quite often when that happens. And our school educational process is certainly a glaring example of that. The assessment on a head count, it might work. It's still going to be in the property tax, and I would imagine this is going to appear on the town report, much like what the court charges do now. It's probably going to be a line item for that, but that still places it in the property tax because that's how it's collected. They say it's per head, but if you're a property owner in a town and you're being subsidized, like 70% of the people that I understand receive some kind of subsidy in the state of Vermont right now in the property taxes, then not everybody's paying the same amount. So I just wanted to make sure, first of all, you guys were aware of this. And to the extent that I would like to hear a little bit, as I did from the Wilmington board a couple weeks ago, I met with them 3 times actually. That, are you concerned about the press? Are you concerned about the county now not having any ability to levy a tax, suddenly they can, being in the future, somehow, again, that back to that legislative intent, but over time gets mellowed, and now we find ourselves where they're assessing for Wyndham Regional Commission. And we've all heard, it's been publicly announced by the current leader of Wyndham, not Jim Mattow, I don't forget what the guy's name is over there now, but he's talked very publicly about wanting Wyndham Regional to take more control over planning and do it regionally, rather than have the towns doing it on their own. Once again, government afar, and if they could do it with a new vehicle to fund it, makes it easier for it to take place. There's an old saying, government, you control the money, you control just about everything else. And when you lose control of that and the property taxation becomes a part of the county level of assessment, we don't have that now. Well, God knows we pay enough in taxes already. Now, I realize these services are going to be in these member towns. Dover's not going to be affected immediately. Wilmington's not going to be affected immediately because we already have our own police force. And we already support each other. We already support our neighboring towns with our own police force. I'm sure you at times go to Marlboro, you go to Wardsboro, we go to Marlboro, we go to Searsburg, and we go to Whiting. And it's being neighborly, and that's great. I think that's wonderful that we do that. But this is different. This is a more of a compelling thing to me that I think comes right down to it, that if the member communities decide that they can no longer afford Wyndham Regional Commissioner, Wyndham Regional Sheriff's Department, or Wyndham County Sheriff's Department, and they say, we need help financially to do this. Well, all boats rise when everybody contributes. I can see the new flag that they're waving saying, well, you non-member towns really need to help contribute. Even though you got your own police department, that you need to contribute because you'll help your neighbors by being able to pay for their police department that they can't otherwise afford. And I may be dead wrong on this, but it sure sounds an awful lot like misguided long-term assessment of taxation that could go very, very wrong. So what do you know about it? What do you think about it? What have you heard?
I've read it. I read the updates and the edits.
Have I been pretty accurate what I told you?
Pretty accurate. I don't think I'm as cynical as you are about it. I think that there are communities who, by banding together, they could get some economies of scale with the sheriff's department. I think that that is something that, we have been approached by Wardsboro to help them with emergencies. And I haven't heard back what happened. Did you go to that? You were in Dover yesterday. So I haven't heard. Yes.
I know it was not on their agenda. I don't know if it was brought up.
Maybe under other business.
Yeah.
So I tend to believe I tend to believe that Laura's done her homework on it. Wendy Harrison, our senator, spoke about it, said Dover, it will not affect Dover whatsoever. That'll be in the minutes. I don't think I'm quite as scared of this as you are. I get what you're saying. Act 60, it's all turned into a disaster in this state. I agree, but this is a pilot program. If they drop, they won't even do anything until they get 5 towns. And if one drops out, in so many years, the whole thing goes away. So that's my thoughts. Sarah?
I hear what you're saying about once you create a tax, you have less control over how that tax gets used. But I feel like there's a pretty bright line in the sand here where towns have to sign up. Act 60, no town had an option of signing up. We had to all be a part of it. This tax is voluntary. And I can see, and I understand what you're saying about, they might then say, rising tide, we all have to pitch in. And at that point, I think you then create a very strong argument from Wilmington and Dover, which are and Brattleboro, right? They're also
And Rocky.
right. The towns that have the population bases in Wyndham County are also the towns that have their own police departments. Right. So that's going to be, they're going to have greater representation in the House of Representatives. they're going to have a more compelling reason to not go along with it. Because the towns that have the bodies also have their own police departments. And their argument is gonna be, well, if you can't afford it on your own, then you need to go back to the old system or something. But you can't ask us, in the name of neighborliness, to pay for your police department. We have a police department. We're covered,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that if that conversation ever happened, that's when, you know, the lanterns and pitchforks come out.
So let me ask you though, what does this fix in your mind? What's broken?
Coverage, and that's that I put on the state police because they're moving out of West Brattleboro and consolidating in Westminster created a vacuum where people are in danger and there's accidents and there's dangerous things happening and they can't get here on time. They can't get here in a timely manner to, not here in Dover, but in other towns to take care of the situation. And so we're being asked to take care of that.
So how does that change, how does this change that in your view? How does this make that?
Maybe it makes, as I said, it builds to a scale where other towns can say, yes, we can afford this because we need coverage. You know?
Well, here's my question though, what does it matter what I think?
Well, because it's almost like it's a solution looking for a problem.
But it's not my problem and it's not my solution. I'm
Well,
not
that's-
sure that I need to
that's
have,
correct.
I'm not sure I need to have an opinion about this right now.
Right, right. And I don't disagree with that in the current format that we have before us in this measure. But if you look at the measure as it is written and as it's created, it really doesn't change anything. Mark's still gonna he's still gonna have a police force. He's still gonna cover the same
They're
towns
still
he's
gonna
covering. that he's
sell it to these towns just like he does now.
Yeah, so how is that?
So, but Mark, I guess my question is, Cliff, why are you talking to us? Why aren't you talking to the towns that don't have police departments? Who are going to be directly affected by this? It's not a solution or a problem that we have any say in.
Right, it's a good question. It's a good question. And the reason is because they have a choice to not have their own police force and pay for a sworn police force.
Mm-hmm.
And they've chosen not to do that. Their options are limited. And
But that
state
still
police
doesn't
coverage
make it our
and
problem.
Wyndham County can cover that. But what I'm saying is the towns he's talking about covering are no different than the towns he already covers.
So I still am not clear why the Dover Select Board should even have an opinion on this.
Because of the unprecedented change in the county being able to assess the tax rate, and it's why this is even necessary. If they could just charge a tax, they'd do it, but they can't because the legislation had to be enacted in order for that to occur. That's the change.
Mike,
So I'm not in disagreement that I don't know why this currently is a Dover issue in any way, shape or form. What I can add is that to my knowledge, Sheriff Anderson is aggressively trying to hire in preparation for this. What he feels is an inevitability. This is gonna happen. And the solution to the problem. Those outlying towns, if they feel they have a problem, can sign on to this solution, get taxed to have better police coverage in their small outlying towns than they currently feel they're getting from state police. That would be done with this extra manpower that is being hired by the sheriff department. He's not saying, pay us to do what we already do. He's saying, pay us, we're gonna tax you for better, more services. Not the same thing you're getting now.
I guess I didn't, okay, when I've spoken with Mark, I have not understood why you can't do that now, why you can't just say, if you want more coverage, we charge you more money. And give you the same service under a completely voluntary system, not create a vehicle by which we now tax people on a county level that we don't have the authority to do already.
Mike,
My feeling on that is the same feeling I had when Wardsboro approached us to handle major incidents. It's gotta be all or nothing. When the sheriff's department is contracted to come into a town, it's a very specific window and a very specific reason. Typically, it's traffic control. You know, when they are hired by, say, Jamaica, to go to Jamaica, they work a set amount of hours per week, and they're there on the roads patrolling. And if there happens to be a call that comes in during that time when they happen to be on the road, they will respond to it. So the amount of times that during a day shift, VSP dispatch will get on the radio and tell VSP that there's an incident in Jamaica, their first response is there a sheriff on? When is there a sheriff on? Because they're both trying to have the other person take care of that issue. Mark's proposed solution, to the best of my understanding, would be taking those towns over to a much larger degree and having deputies in those towns more often and readily available to answer calls. Not waiting 2 hours for VSP to show up.
I think that's great. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a noble thing. I just disagree. We can't do that right now. We want.
Again, that's not my argument or anything else, and I honestly still don't know how. I agree, I don't know what that has to do with Dover.
Yeah.
I've been following this in as much as making sure nothing changes to include taxation of Dover, or to include trying to take any powers away from the town or the police department in Dover and say, this is what we're gonna come in and do. That's my concern with this. I agree that people of Dover, I'm not a Dover taxpayer, but I agree that they should not be paid. They should not be taxed for a service that they already have.
Sure, absolutely.
Does anybody else? Patrick?
Yeah, I think, you know, Cliff, I appreciate that you called our attention to this. It doesn't seem like there's anything for us to do at the moment other than just pay attention to this and watch it. You're not asking us to take any action at this point,
No.
I think, right?
Right.
Okay.
Joe, you got anything?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Cliff.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Cliff.
now we're gonna move to the consent agenda, which are the minutes of February 17th and 24th. 17th, everybody was,
24th was foods now.
yes. So, and
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 17th and February 24th.
Second.
any corrections or changes?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to approve warrants for February 28th, 2026 for $119,959.65.
I make a motion to approve the warrants of February 28th for $119,959.65.
Second?
Second.
Second, Joe. Any questions on the warrants? Everybody saw them yesterday, I know. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. FYI, dog clinic Sunday. Sunday's an odd day to have it.
I know, it was tough to
Get
Miles and I to coordinate, so.
Sunday, March 8th at 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastover Fire Department. Planning Commission meets March 9th at 6:30 p.m. Rock River Community Meeting, April 11th at Dover Town Hall, 10 a.m. to noon. Okay, anything else? Any liaison reports?
No.
Nope.
I am not aware of an executive session. You need it? So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Okay.
7:04. Actually, Mike, thank you for being here. Yeah, I'm glad you came. I